We're going to now start working on part number PG0008 for CAM programming. This is two counterboard holes, 218 diameter through with counterboard diameter 367 thousandths to a depth of 210 thousandths. So these are two counterboards over here. So thinking about tooling, obviously we're going to need a spot drill and a 218 thousandths drill to drill through. But we got to decide what kind of strategy we want to do for making the counterboards themselves. And since it's got to be 367 thousandths in diameter, that's going to drive a decision on what size end mill to use. So we need an end mill that's going to go around in a circle as it goes into the part. And I'm going to actually show you an example of that right here on this part. We're going to be doing what's called a boring cycle. So we have an end mill that's going to take this circular, so like a spiral pattern as it goes down. Let me show you how that works in a simulation. All right, so this is a different part, but it's the same idea. So I'll go nice and slow if I can. And you can see as it's moving down. It's in a circle, but it's going down at the same time. All right, and so we need something that's slightly small, but not too small. So basically we want the largest end mill possible that we can use, because the bigger they are, the stronger they are, right? The less chance of breakage. So, but we're going to be doing this part, and these are our two counterbore holes. So we got the through holes first, then we got the counterbore. So how does that look? Well, first off, I'm sure what you can imagine already is that we're going to spot drill those two holes, then we're going to drill them through 218 diameter. So right now, what I want you to do is stop this video, and I'd like you to go create an operation to spot drill with a 1/4 inch diameter spot, and then add to your library a new tool. You want to create a 218 thousandths diameter drill. That's 7/32 drill. So that's going to be tool 1 for the spot, tool 2 for the drill bit. And then what I want you to do is create another tool. You're going to create a 1/4 inch end mill. So that's 250 thousandths. So why don't we start? You stop here, go and do the through hole, the spot drill in the through hole, do those operations, and then come back and we'll start with the end mill. Okay, now starting with the end mill, you've already done the through hole. So you've got two operations over here on the setup. And the next thing we're going to do is what's called a boring cycle. So I'm going to click on 2D, and down here, bore. All right, creates a spiraling helical cut that stays in contact with the selected faces. So click on that. We're going to need a tool. Select a tool. We're going to go to our library, and we're going to create an end mill. So we're going to add a flat end mill, and it's going to be a 1/4 end mill. Okay, cutter is 2 flutes, high-speed steel, 0.250 diameter. Flute length is good. Cutting data, spindle speed on this is going to be 3,200. And feed per tooth, we'll put 0.002. Feed per tooth. And that's going to update our cutting feed rate to 12.8 inches a minute, which is fine. Our post-process, we want to be tool number 3. We got 3 tools in this. So we're going to accept that, select it. And now with the boring cycle, when you go into your geometry, what you want to select is the face, so the side of the hole right here. All right, see where I'm pointing? Right at the side of the hole itself. You click on that, and you can see it automatically throws in that cycle to the correct depth, even right down to the correct depth. You don't have to worry about that. Same thing, we're just going to click on another one here. All right, so now we've got 2 of those. But we want to skip over the heights tab. We don't, because it's going right to the whole bottom. But passes, we want to put on stock to leave. We want to leave a little bit of extra on the side walls and a little bit of extra on the bottom, because we're going to go back there with a contour afterwards. So stock to leave, it's actually, I'm sorry, it's just radial stock to leave. 10 thousandths is fine. Yeah, that's actually perfect, 10 thousandths. So we'll click OK there. And there we have our boring cycle. But now we've left stock on the edges. So if I do a simulation, I'll go all the way through here. I still have a little bit of stock around the edge that I want to clean up afterwards. This is basically just a roughing operation. So what we're going to go do is do 2D contours. Click on contour. Tool 3, the quarter-inch end mill is already selected, so we don't have to worry about selecting it. I'm going to go right to the Geometry tab and click the big circle at the bottom of the counterbore on both holes. All right, the height is selected contour. That's perfect. Passes, I'm going to slow down my finished feed rate to 5 inches a minute, just so it goes nice and slow, and we get a good finish cut on that. All right. So all that does is just comes down and does a finish pass. So when we look at this whole thing under the setup, when we simulate it, so it's spotting, it's drilling. Speed that up a little bit. And now it's boring. All right, I'll slow it down at the end. Take that finish pass on one hole, finish pass on the other hole. Okay. And that looks good. All right, now you can post out your code and you can run that program as well.